I wonder,
What?
what if one of our candidates for Operation Sleep Freeze just happened to be well versed in genetics, both fundamentally and as it applies to space?
Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sonny here, and for our final review for May before we head into the summer, we have a film with one of the great titles of all time. And unfortunately, the film does not live up to it. Although it is an accurate title, Mars Needs Women. Yes, this is one of Larry Buchanan's films in which it's not a remake of an AIP film. It does star two well-known people. The main alien is played by Tommy Kirk, who started out as a Disney star. He was one of the Hardy Boys in the two serials that were done for Mickey Mouse Club. He was also in Old Yeller, Shaggy Dog, The Absent-Minded Professor, and its sequel. And of course the Merlin Jones films. Then he ran into a bit of a problem. He was caught with a male lover, which was pretty bad back in the 60s. Career ending, maybe. Also, he was caught at a pop party. And this is Disney. You can't be showing up at pop parties. I mean, Annette Funicello, when she did the Beach movies, she was a Disney actress on loan. She did not wear a bikini. Two-piece, yes. Bikini, no. But his career didn't go all the way down to that point. He got into the Beach movies and made Pajama Party, Village of the Giant, Catalina Caper, Ghost in Invisible Bikini, and It's a Bikini World. But unfortunately, as his orientation became more well known and his lover was a little young, he then fell into the auspices of Larry Buchanan, making this film and also It's Alive. That one has a very coincidentally resemblance to a Richard Matheson's short story. And then, of course, he fell into the auspices of Al Adamson, where he did the 69 footage for Blood of Ghastly Horror. That one had started out in the early 60s as a heist film. Then, because Psycho was such a big thing, Adamson added some extra murder scenes with one character and was retitled Psycho A Go-Go, which then didn't sell. And then he added some more footage with John Carradine, kind of explaining why the guy's so crazy, mad scientist stuff, and it was called Man with a Synthetic Brain. That didn't sell. So then when he sold it to TV, he added some more footage with Tommy Kirk and named it Blood of Ghastly Horror. He continued acting off and on throughout the rest of his career, but yeah, it was never the heights it was back at Disney. The female lead is Yvonne Craig, dancer, actor, probably best known for the third season of Batman, where she played Batgirl. She's got a lot of fans from that still. She also made 2 Elvis movies. It Happened at the World's Fair and Kissing Cousins. In the second one, she ended up with one of the Elvis characters because he was playing identical cousins. Writer must have been a fan of the Patty Duke show. She was also in Ski Party, the second Flint film in Like Flint, where she played a Russian ballerina / secret agent, and was very prolific in TV. She appeared on Star Trek. She was one of the Orion girls, Man from U.N.C.L.E., Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, and 70s Mannix, Starsky and Hutch, and Fantasy Island. So yeah, well-rounded career. We open up our flick with a montage of women disappearing.
It's just 3 words.
I didn't ask for a word count. Give me the message.
You won't believe it. We've checked and double-checked. It keeps coming up the same thing. Colonel, the message is, Mars needs women.
We have a title! Yes. We have a title, yes!
Hey, just get that out of the way right up there up front. Good for you, movie. Then, of course, they have to have a crackdown on any information. They don't want this leaking out. People might get panicked. Then they get an actual audio message from the aliens.
We have attempted to seize 3 women by transponder. We have been unsuccessful. Now we come in person. Prepare for materialization.
You're not going to say what happened to those 3 women? Just, it failed? Were they returned? Are they floating out in space? Just going to brush that aside? Oh, well. Ooh, but we're going to get some alien materialization. Ooh, can't wait to see what the makeup effects are. This will probably be hideous.
You reach for me. You try and restrain me, and just as I materialize, so I will disappear.
Aww. No antennae. It's not green or purple or something. Just regular old Tommy Kirk. Well, let's see what he has to say.
Come not as hostiles. We are medical missionaries. A critical recession in the Y chromosomes in our genetics has resulted in a preponderance of male births over female. The ratio is now 100 to 1.
That's pretty sad. So, what are they proposing?
This is an experimental voyage. Our craft is small, a crew of 5, but with room for 5 more passengers to return to Mars. We seek female volunteers, unmarried, of good health, and possessing the common indicators of fertility and reproduction.
Oh, well, he's asking for volunteers. I'm sure we can find some people that want to go to Mars.
Though we may sympathize with your problem, yours is still an overt action of abduction and war. We demand that you abort your mission and return to Mars.
Ah, yeah, those 3 women they tried to abduct. Yeah. That is a sticking point. Well, with the refusal, they're just going to have to do it on their own. And although we have great defenses here on Earth, they are no match for the aliens from Mars.
I have been stopped at 40,000 feet. No explanation. Instruments okay, but it's like I've hit a brick wall every time I push up.
Luckily, Larry Buchanan had access to a lot of stock footage, so he could show planes and missiles and stuff. Well, with our military being unable to stop these aliens, they land in the most cost-effective way imaginable.
Wait, Mark. I believe I've got something. Look! We better get out of here.
Not bad. You could kind of imagine it being a craft of some kind, I guess. Well, once they've landed in their secret hideout, they have to go and get some things like money and clothes, transportation, so they can blend in. That first guy, I think he's going to be a problem, because one of the orders was to not draw attention and not hurt anybody. But his excuse was he thought expediency was more important. Oh, and we also learned some interesting Martian fashion tips.
These ties serve no functional purpose. Red Planet abandoned the use of ties 50 years ago as useless male vanity.
Yeah, we are a vain species, I will admit. Well, while the leader and the medical officer go off to secure base of operations, we start to see just what kind of women they've picked out for their abductions.
Several subjects rejected now have excellent lead under surveillance.
A stripper and a stewardess. Well. Yeah, we're going for the cliches here. Anyways, Dopp, which is Tommy Kirk, he's been having some trouble securing a hotel room for their base of operations. Seems there's nothing, because, well, the flying saucer thing kind of leaked, and, well, there are reporters from everywhere. And they've got all the rooms. But if something comes up, they can wait in the bar if they like. So they do. And as luck would have it, they see a very interesting news broadcast.
Dr. Bolin wrote her thesis on space medicine and received a Pulitzer Prize for her book, Space Genetics.
Looks like Dopp's got his choice for target. Especially considering her field of space genetics. Very useful. Well, now it's imperative they get a hotel room. So they, using their hypnotic powers, they convince one reporter to head back to his home, because I believe in Kansas, because he's forgotten his press credentials. They took them. And now they have their base of operations, so that Dopp can attend the scientist's lecture, where he proves that he's not like your average scoffing reporter.
There's been a lot of talk about breaking the code. The new discoveries regarding the structure of the DNA molecule and the non-chromosomal factors involved in genetics. Doesn't this suggest that what happened on Mars could happen here?
Yep, no questions about little green men from him. This not only impresses Dr. Bolin, but it also impresses Simmons, the guy who's running the press poll, as it were. They give all the information to him, and he disseminates it to all the other reporters. And he invites Fast to sit in with him because it's obvious he's got something on the ball. Not only that, but Dr. Bolin's so impressed with him, she decides they go for a walk, where they end up at an observatory where he impresses her even more when the lecture tape breaks and there's a bunch of kids wanting to know stuff.
You'll notice Mars has polar caps over the north and south poles. Between those polar caps is one of the biggest controversies about Mars. The crisscrossing of a network of canals that is geometrically perfect.
Lecture is saved. He gives them a lot of information about the canals, and conditions, and everything. This really impresses Dr. Bolin. Afterwards, they agree to meet again for another walking date, maybe even dinner. After the meeting with the brass and all that. Then we get our montage of the other 3 girls that were picked.
You're late.
Never thought about it. Painting and hypnosis.
Okay, so now they have a homecoming queen and a college co-ed, I guess. Painter. So, artistic, erotic. They're hitting all the gamuts here, I guess. These abductions are starting to make national news. And they've kind of triangulated to a pretty big area by a lake. But where could those aliens be? And then Dr. Bolin realizes there's an ice house there with certain chemicals and salt. Why is this important, you may ask?
Our first interplanetary travel will be done in a state of sleep and frozen, hence the term sleep freeze. If these techniques are perfected, man can be thrust through space never knowing the ill effects of space travel, or the boredom from being confined in a closed vehicle over a long period of time.
So, good enough. They're going to plan a raid. Now, this information does not get to the press poll liaison, but he does suspect that something's up there. He seems more positive. Perhaps Fast can win the confidence of Dr. Bolin. Well, Dopp's going to do his best. He's got to know what they're planning.
We think we've found the Martian's hideout, and there's going to be a raid on it tonight.
Oh, well, that's bad news for him. They just kissed, too. Well, he rushes away. He's got to warn them, but she will not be left behind and goes with him. And she learns a horrifying truth. Maybe. Definitely.
Abort the mission. We've been concerned for you, fellow one.
There's no time for concern. There's a raiding party on the way. They're due here any minute. Abort! Take to the ship!
He's a Martian. And the women aren't being done prepared, they're have to leave them behind. But of course, this means the end of Martian civilization. Oh, and there's one more surprise Dop springs on him.
I'm not coming with you, fellow two. To abort this mission is failure enough. To leave you behind would mean death to us all. Why not take both of them? We could freeze her en route. As a test case for insemination?
I knew that guy was going to be trouble. So this is what it comes down to. Either they take Dr. Bolin, which would compensate for the aborting of the mission, or Dop returns with them, at which point I don't think they'll survive, but then Mars isn't going to survive much longer anyways. What's he going to do?
The word love went out of our vocabulary 100 years ago. But whatever love is, I know it must be what I feel for you.
It's almost Shakespearean. He's fallen in love, and so he's going to go back to save her, even though it means his death. And so they take off, letting her know the women will just come awake after a bit. And then tearfully she watches them fly off while the colonel is asking her what they're like. The end. Yeah. This is a slow-moving film. As usual with Buchanan, he was not the most dynamic of filmmakers. And a lot of long stretches of nothing happening, intercut with, spying on the women, hypnotizing the women. The best scene, I think, is probably towards the end with Kirk and Craig, who her realization he's a Martian, and his tearful goodbye, and his anger at the implication of artificial insemination, and Kirk was a really good actor. If only his career hadn't been during such a close-minded time, orientation-wise, as opposed to the drugs and underage paramour. and Craig, again, good actress. She does well with the scientific mumbo jumbo, which is not easy to do. Only on Star Trek do you get such confident gobbledygook spit it out. But yeah, the title's more salacious than the actual film. But then again, it was made for TV, as most of his work in the 60s was. And not too many special effects. Some okay humor, especially the joke about ties. And no real antagonist, technically. I mean, okay, the Martians are, but you understand why they're doing what they're doing. Well, there's that one guy who seems to be really into aggressiveness and bad ideas. But yeah, none of the other actors have anything to write home about. A lot of them are just local. Some are regular Buchanan actors who pop up in a lot of his films. On the whole, this is just kind of a kind of film. It's not goofy enough to be really funny, but it's not a lot of exploitation aspects to it. So the title is more enjoyable just as a silly title than in the actual product itself. So it's one you can't really highly recommend, even among camp and bad movie aficionados. It's not weird like Man Who Stands of Fate. It's not hilariously inept like Ed Wood. And it's just not campily bad and funny like, say, yeah, not a lot of them are they? Not really when you get down to it. Like Killer Shrews or a giant Gila monster, where they've got something there that is actually pretty amusing. Anyways, yeah, the only reason to watch this is for like the last 5 minutes, just for the acting of Kirk and Craig. Other than that, it's a pretty forgettable flick. Well, please like, share, subscribe, and please stay after the credits for my favorite scene.
Do you agree the best study of mankind is man?
Or woman? What time is it?
I kiss you and your only response is, what time is it?